My brother, you now represent a young man just starting forth on the journey of life with the important task before him of self-improvement. The labor required in the faithful performance of this task is great, but the reward is noble. It consists in the moral and spiritual elevation of your character, the acquisition of truth and knowledge. Freemasonry is a progressive moral science and is divided into different classes or degrees for the more regular or gradual advancement in the knowledge of its mysteries. It is viewed under two denominations, operative and speculative. They worked at the building of King Solomon's temple and at many other sacred and Masonic edifices. By operative masonry, we allude to a proper application of the useful rules of architecture, whence a building will derive figure, strength, and beauty, and whence will result a due proportion and just correspondence in all its parts. By speculative masonry, we allude to a proper application of those moral and spiritual rules, whence our minds and consciences will derive a spiritual strength and beauty. By speculative masonry, we learn to subdue our passions, act upon the square, keep a tongue of good report, observe secrecy, and practice charity. It is so far interwoven with religion as to lay us under obligation to pay that rational homage to the deity which at once constitutes our duty and our happiness. It leads the contemplative Mason to view with reverence and admiration the glorious works of creation, and inspires him with the most exalted ideas of the perfection of his divine Creator. I now call your attention to the representatives of the two famous brazen pillars that ornamented the porch of King Solomon's temple. The one on right means to establish. The one on the left means strength. Taken collectively, they allude to that promise made by God to David that in strength he would establish his throne and advance the glory of Israel. They were cast in the clay grounds on the plains of the river Jordan, between Succoth and Zeradatha, by the widow's son. They were cast hollow, about a hand's breadth in thickness, the better to withstand inundation and conflagration. And Masonic tradition informs us that they were the receptacles of the archives of Masonry. Each pillar was 12 cubits in circumference and 18 cubits in height, and was surmounted by a chapiter of 5 cubits, making 23 cubits. These chapiters were adorned with rows of checkerwork, lilies, and pomegranates. The checkerwork, from its intimate connection, denotes unity. The lilies, from their pure whiteness, peace, and the pomegranates, from the abundance of their seeds, plenty. Masons now place on the top of each chapiter a globe, one showing the map of the terrestrial and the other of the celestial spheres. Taken collectively, they remind us of the universality of Masonry and that a Mason's charity should be equally extensive. Passing through this long porch or gallery, we arrive at the foot of a flight of winding stairs consisting of 3, 5, and 7 steps, which it is necessary that you ascend, and which leads to the middle chamber. Before us are 3 steps. The number 3 is the symbol of mystery. Hence, the number of degrees in the mystic lodge is 3. It is governed by 3 stationed officers, the worshipful master, senior and junior wardens. It is supported by the 3 great pillars of wisdom, strength, and beauty. Also, this number refers to the greatest of all mysteries, the mystery of deity. Just as the 3 degrees of Masonry make but one science, the threefold government, and support one lodge, so the number 3 aptly points to the worship of one God in the threefold aspect of the Trinity. We will now take these steps, advancing first with the left foot. Before us are 5 steps. These allude to the 5 orders of architecture, which are the Tuscan, Doric, Ionic, Corinthian, and Composite. The ancient and original orders of architecture revered by Freemasons are only 3, the Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian. They alone show originality of invention and particular character, and essentially differ from each other. So these three orders are used in the three great pillars that support the mystic lodge. The Corinthian order, which is the most graceful and beautiful, represents beauty and is placed under the charge of the junior warden. The Doric, which is the most massive and the strongest, represents strength and is placed under the charge of the senior warden. The Ionic, which combines the grace of the Corinthian with the massive strength of the Doric, represents wisdom and is placed under the charge of the worshipful master. These steps also allude to the 5 human senses: hearing, seeing, feeling, smelling, and tasting. Of these, those most revered by Masons are hearing, seeing, and feeling. The active powers of the mind are 5: perception, memory, imagination, reasoning, and the moral faculty. Thus, we see that whether it be in the science of matter or of mind, the number 5 is a fit symbol of this second or scientific degree of Freemasonry, and teaches us to cultivate our minds. We are no longer entered apprentices, mere bearers of burthens, but we are now fellow workmen, fellows of the craft, and need to know somewhat of the science of the craft. We will now take these steps, advancing first with the right foot. Before us are 7 steps. The number 7 is the symbol of completeness. It is so used throughout the Holy Bible, that greatest light of Masonry. These steps allude to what was anciently called the 7 liberal arts and sciences, which are grammar, rhetoric, logic, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. It would be vain here to speak further of these wide-reaching branches of learning, a knowledge of which is necessary to complete a liberal education. I pass on to give a few words upon geometry, the foundation of Masonic science. By geometry, the architect is enabled to draw his plans and execute his designs, the general to arrange his soldiers, the engineer to design great structures, the geographer to give us the dimensions of the world and all things therein contained. By it also, the astronomer is enabled to make his observations to fix the durations of times and seasons, years and cycles. Geometry is the foundation of architecture and the root of mathematics. Astronomy, the oldest and most progressive of sciences, should engage our zealous study. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. Carrying further this symbolism of the completeness of the number 7, we find that there are 7 heavens, and the 7th is the throne of deity. 7 days were the priests in completing the consecration of their holy office. In 7 days the work of creation was completed, for in 6 days God created the heaven and the earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested on the 7th day, and hallowed it. The 7th day, therefore, our ancient brethren consecrated as a day of rest from their labors, thereby enjoying frequent opportunities to contemplate the glorious works of creation and to adore and worship their great Creator. So, to commemorate the work of creation, King Solomon's temple was 7 years in building, and in the 7th year was completed and dedicated to the worship of God. The number 7 is used as the symbol of the 3rd degree, for the 3rd degree completes the system of Freemasonry as practiced by our ancient brethren. He who has passed the 3 degrees, if he has taken to heart the lessons taught therein, is a master workman, completely furnished for the labor and duties of life. Let us urge you, my brother, not to allow your foot to halt, nor your hand to grow weary, until you have completed this glorious work. We will now take these steps, advancing first with the left foot. Now looking back down the symbolic stairway, we find that, taken collectively, it typifies the 3 degrees of Masonry and the great ideas of its organization, which are the worship of God, the improvement of men morally and intellectually, and the complete life. You are now in a place representing the middle chamber of King Solomon's temple, where you will be taught the wages of a fellow craft mason and have your name enrolled as such. Geometry, the first and noblest of sciences, is the basis on which the superstructure of Freemasonry is erected. By geometry, we may curiously trace nature through her various windings to her most concealed recesses. By it, we discover the power, wisdom, and goodness of the grand artificer of the universe. By it, we discover how the planets move in their respective orbits and demonstrate their various revolutions. By it, we account for the return of the seasons and the variety of scenes which each season displays to the discerning eye. Numberless worlds are around us, which roll through the vast expanse, all created by the same divine artist and conducted by the same unerring law of nature. A survey of nature and the observation of her beautiful proportions first determined man to imitate the divine plan and to study symmetry and order. This gave rise to societies and birth to every useful art. The architect began to design, and the plans which he laid down, being improved by time and experience, have produced works which are the admiration of every age. The lapse of time, the ruthless hand of ignorance, and the devastations of war have laid waste and destroyed many valuable monuments of antiquity, on which the utmost exertions of human genius have been employed. Even the Temple of Solomon, so spacious and magnificent, and constructed by so many celebrated artists, escaped not the unsparing ravages of barbarous force. Freemasonry, notwithstanding, has still survived. The attentive ear receives the sound from the instructive tongue, and the mysteries of Masonry are safely lodged in the repository of faithful breasts. Tools and implements of architecture and symbolic emblems most expressive are selected by the fraternity to imprint on the mind wise and serious truths, and thus, through a succession of ages, are transmitted unimpaired the most excellent tenets of our institution.